Hello students, in this video we are going to solve the exercise of lesson number 1, that is population part 1 for standard 12th arts and science students. So the first chapter is population part 1. So the exercise which is in your textbook is solved completely in this video. Let us start with the first question. Identify the correct correlation. A assertion and R is reasoning. Means whatever is the sentence of A, the meaning or the reason for that sentence should be given in R. So that is the meaning of this question. So the first question is A, areas which have fertile soil have dense population. And the reasoning given here is fertile soils are good for agriculture. So definitely wherever there is a fertile soil, the population is very dense. Hence, this is exactly correct. And second thing is fertile soils are good for agriculture. This is also correct. Okay, because wherever there is fertile soil, there you can see large amount of agriculture and hence there is large amount of population. So here option 3, both A and R are correct. Means both are having the correct logic. And R is the correct explanation of A. This is exactly correct. Now let us move to question number 2, that is population of a region does not change. Okay, population of a region does not change and reasoning is given birth rate, death rate and migration affects the population of a region. Okay, so here you can see that definitely birth rate, death rate and migration, they affect the population. This is exactly true. But population does not change. So this is wrong. Population keeps on changing. It is never even. Okay, it keeps on changing. There is always a plus and minus because of birth and death in the population. So only the second thing, on a second reasoning is correct. Hence, only R is correct. This is the right answer. Next question. In stage 2, death rate reduces by birth rate is constant. And reasoning is the population increases rapidly in the stage 2. Now here we are aware that the demographic transition model, which we have already studied in this chapter, in that we have total 5 stages. Okay, so the stage 2, we have to be specific with stage 2 where that is the early expanding stage. Okay, so here we have the thing that in the early expanding stage the population increases rapidly because it is also called as population explosion stage, and then we have death rate reduces by birth rate is constant. So both A and R are correct explanations. Okay, so option 3 is the right answer. Now the next question is write short note. Okay, second exercise, write short note. Impact of relief on population distribution. So you can see here what is relief. Relief is one of the most important factor which affects the population. Why? Because relief is nothing but what is the area where you live, whether it is mountainous, whether it is flat, whether it is plateaus, plains. Okay, you just have to tell about it. But we all know that wherever there is mountain, it is not much populated, it is sparsely populated, whereas in the plains, okay, it is more populated because fertility of soil, and in the plateaus it is somewhat moderate. The mountains and hilly areas are less populated because of limited means of livelihood. Agriculture is poorly developed and transportation facilities are limited. For example, northeastern states of India have less population due to hilly and mountainous relief. On the other hand, plains are densely populated because of fertile soil, well-developed agriculture, and due to plain relief, it is easy to construct roads and develop industries. So, what is the thing that mountainous areas are not much developed, accessibility is less, because of that the fertility of soil is also less, and because of all these reasons the population is very very low. And in the case of plain surface, the soil fertility is more, and because of that the population is more, agriculture is more, and employment chances are also more. Okay, construction can be done easily and accessibility is also more. So in short we can say that plains are densely populated and mountains and plateaus are sparsely populated. Okay, now the next one is correlation between birth rate and the death rate. Okay, so we need to understand what is the correlation between, how is the dependency between birth rate and death rate. So birth rate and death rate are important components of population change. Birth rate is the number of live births in per thousand population. So definition is important. Even the definition of death rate is important. That is, death rate is number of deaths in year per thousand population. So what is population growth? Population growth depends on both. It depends on birth rate as well as death rate in each and every year. We calculate population for each and every year freshly. Okay. So population growth occurs not only by increasing the birth rate but also by decreasing the death rate. Okay. When birth rate is more than death rate, then population is going to definitely increase. But when birth rate is less than death rate, then the population is definitely going to decrease. So if both birth rate and death rate are in same ratio or they are stable, then the population will definitely be maintained or it will be constant. So because of that, the birth rate and death rate are being same is only a hypothetical situation, means there should be a balance between both of them. So this is an ideal situation. Okay, it should be an ideal situation. Now the next short note is based on stage 3 in demographic transition theory. So we all are aware of demographic transition theory. So we are going to talk about stage 3, which is called as an expanding population stage. Okay, so from second stage to this stage, the death rates are always decreasing. So we have already seen that in the first stage the death rate is high, but in second and third it goes gradually decreasing. Okay, so birth rates are also decreasing and decrease in both birth rate as well as the death rate. So ultimately what happens, you can see that the population is also going to reduce, but actually the population is growing because the birth rates are higher than the death rates. Okay, even though the numbers are decreasing, but still the birth rate is higher than your death rate. So in this stage the country is making progress. The income of the people is above the subsistence level and there is an improvement in the standard of living of the people, and poverty is also reducing. So there is a development of technology because of development in the secondary and tertiary activities, and due to this there is an increase in the educational level, lifestyle of the people. Okay, the planning, the size of the family has been reduced. So in short, the stage 3 countries are moving from developing stage to the developed stage. Okay, so this is about the short note which is in your exercise. Now let us move for the geographical reasons. So now the geographical reason, they most probably come for 2 marks. You need to write at least 4 points. Okay, each one correct point, exact point, is going to carry 1 mark. So India is passing through stage 3 of demographic transition model. So this is a statement and you have to give a reason why. So in India, since there is an increase in the birth rate and the death rate, the growth rate of the population is also decreasing. Due to the development in the country, income of the people has reached above the subsistence level, standard of living is improved, poverty is decreasing, technology is developing. Okay, number of people engaged in the secondary and tertiary activities have also increased, and due to the increase in literacy rate, people have understood the importance of family planning, and therefore there is a decrease in the size of the family, and hence India is passing through stage 3 of demographic transition. Okay, so we already know कि stage 3 में क्या होता है कि birth rate as well as the death rate both are reducing, okay, but still the birth rate is more, okay. But in this stage the developing countries has been increased, the chances of the developing countries has been increased, and the lifestyle has been increased because of education. The people here has understood the value of small families, okay, and because of that the poverty is reduced and the standard of living has been raised up, okay. Now let us move to the second give reason. Okay, population distribution is uneven. So we all are aware that the population distribution in India is total in India, not throughout the world, is totally uneven. Why? Because each and every region has its own characteristic, like how is the relief, how is the climate, what is the availability of water, soil, okay. Now if you take an example, if you stay in India, if you stay in particular state, so the climatic condition in one state is different from the another. The climatic condition of Maharashtra is different than Jammu and Kashmir, okay. You cannot relate with each other. Why? Because the population distribution is based on climate, it is based on the availability of water, it is based on relief, it is influenced by all these different conditions. For example, if you consider the relief factor, mountains are very less populated, whereas the plateaus or plains are more populated as compared to the mountains. The Himalaya region in India is thinly populated by the Gangetic plains and are thickly populated, and Deccan Plateau region is moderately populated. In the same case, if you see that wherever there is availability of water, the people tend to live there because they require water for their livelihood, for the agriculture, okay. So agriculture, mining, transportation, urbanization, these are all the things very important in the case of population attraction, okay. Sometimes government policies also affect the population distribution. So we can take an example of Japan, because of in Japan the Tokyo was highly populated, okay. So the government was giving incentives to the people that you please move away from Tokyo and stay somewhere else. So such type of things are also done by government to distribute the population, okay. Hence the population distribution is totally uneven throughout the world. Next give reason is population increases because of transportation facilities. Definitely, if the transportation facility is more, accessibility is more, then definitely the population is going to increase in those areas. The development of roads and railways makes the region more accessible. Such areas provide favorable conditions for development and manufacturing the industries which generate the employment. So it should be easy for people to move from one place to another place. It should be easy for people to travel to their workplaces, to the schools. The health facilities should be very convenient to them. Then such areas becomes very densely populated. For example, Gangetic plains of India, where the density of roads are the highest in India, okay. So population increases in port cities due to the availability of sea transport for the development of trade. Therefore, the coastal region is densely populated, and for example, many ports like Chennai, Mumbai are developed, and in the east and west coast of Mumbai are also developed. So this is all about the population increases because of the transportation facilities. Now the next give reason is secondary and tertiary activities increases in the third stage, okay. Now why secondary and tertiary activities are increasing in third stage? Because third stage of the demographic transition model is the stage where the population or that specific country is trying to develop itself, okay. As a result, when this at this stage, whichever country comes, that country is already trying to develop itself, and the development or the economic condition can be increased easily with the help of secondary activities and tertiary activities, okay, because primary activities are going to give less economic generation, okay. The income of the people in the country reaches above subsistency level. Poverty rate also decreases in the third stage of demographic transition model. So if the poverty level is decreasing, then definitely the standard of living is going to increase. The use of technology is also increased. The science and technology, advanced technology techniques they use, education level is uplifted, health facilities are upgraded, employment chances are more. So all these things in combination comes in the third stage of demographic transition model. Next is population may increase through birth rate whenever birth rates are low. Yes, so we have to give the explanation for this, because the growth of population always depends on the difference of the numbers of live births in per thousand population and number of deaths in year per thousand of population. You need to explain both the definitions of birth rate and death rate, and how is the growth of population depending on birth rate and death rate. So whenever the birth rate is low and the death rate is low, then definitely the population will be less. Okay, but if the birth rate is high, okay, if the birth rate is low and the death rate is also low, then the number of live births per thousand population are going to be decreased. So you can give the explanation according to it. Next question. Population density is a function of population and area of a region. Okay, the number of people living in a particular area is calculated as the density of that area in a country. Okay, so population density is nothing but it is the ratio of total population living in that total area. Okay, you just have to take a ratio of it. For example, as per the census of 2011, density of population in India is 325 persons per square kilometers. It is the ratio between the total population in India and total area of India in square kilometers. So like that you need to give some examples during you answer your questions during the board examination. In some countries the total population may be less, but the density of the population may be high. Okay. For example, Bangladesh total population is less, but the area of the country is small. Therefore, the density of the population is high. So it is not like that कि if the country is big, then the population is more. No, ऐसा नहीं है. Even you can take an example of Australia. Australia का extent बहुत ज़्यादा है, but as compared to the extent of Australia, the people living there is very, very less. So you can say that the population density is very, very less. Okay, so like that you need to give the examples. अभी next question है answer in detail. The question is explain the physical factors affecting the distribution of population. अभी physical factors अगर आपको exam में आते हैं, you have to just write the factors which are physically present. जैसे कि रिलीफ है, क्लाइमेट है, अवेलेबिलिटी ऑफ वाटर है, सॉइल है. ओके, जो फिजिकली प्रेजेंट है और उनका इम्पैक्ट पॉपुलेशन के ऊपर कितना है, दैट यू हैव टू राइट. ओके, एंड यू हैव टू एक्सप्लेन ईच एंड एवरीथिंग. अभी रिलीफ में आप क्या लिखोगे? फ्लैट सरफेस के बारे में लिखोगे जिसमें प्लेन सरफेस आता है. यू विल राइट इट इज़ फर्टाइल. ओके, इसलिए एग्रीकल्चर, रोड्स वो सब कंस्ट्रक्ट होते हैं, इसके वजह से उधर पॉपुलेशन बहुत ज़्यादा होता है. देन इफ़ यू टेक इन द केस ऑफ रिलीफ ओनली, इफ़ यू कैन राइट द रिलीफ अबाउट माउंटेन्स, हिली टेरियंस, तो वहाँ पे एक्सेसिबिलिटी नहीं होती है, यू कैन नॉट कंस्ट्रक्ट द रोड्स. उसके वजह से क्या होता है, वहाँ पे लेस पॉपुलेशन होता है. ओके, लाइक दैट यू कैन राइट इन द केस ऑफ रिलीफ. अभी क्लाइमेट के बारे में आप क्या लिखोगे? क्लाइमेट भी फेवरेबल होना चाहिए. ओके, इफ़ द क्लाइमेट इज़ अनफेवरेबल देन डेफिनेटली देयर विल बी लेस पॉपुलेशन. ओके, सो अनफेवरेबल क्लाइमेट के एग्जांपल्स आप क्या लिखोगे? द डेजर्ट क्लाइमेट. ओके, देन यू कैन राइट द पोलर एरियाज क्लाइमेट. जहाँ पे बहुत ही लो टेम्परेचर होता है, जहाँ पे एग्रीकल्चर हो ही नहीं सकता है, डेजर्ट में वाटर बॉडीज़ ही नहीं है. ओके, सो दीज आर दी अनफेवरेबल क्लाइमेट. फेवरेबल क्लाइमेट में आप लिख सकते हो कि जहाँ पे वाटर है, जहाँ पे देर इज़ नॉट मच मीन्स मॉडरेट टेम्परेचर है. ओके, सो सच टाइप ऑफ थिंग्स आर फेवरेबल. Next is availability of water. Now water is the most important factor, as we all know. We survive because of water. Okay, तो जहाँ पे भी water है, agriculture हो सकता है, and people can stay there. Okay, so hence wherever water is there, the population is more. So densely populated area उन्होंने यहाँ पे दिया है Nile River Valley. Okay, now next is soil. अभी soil भी इज़ एन इम्पॉर्टेंट फिजिकल फैक्टर्स विच इज़ अफेक्टिंग द पॉपुलेशन. अभी जब जहाँ पे सॉइल ही फर्टाइल है, देन यू कैन से दैट येस डेफिनेटली देर इज़ अ लार्ज नंबर ऑफ पॉपुलेशन विच इज़ गेटिंग कॉन्सेंट्रेटेड इन दोज प्लेसेस लाइक गंगेटिक plains of Mississippi. Okay, and wherever the soil is infertile, there the population is very very low. Even in the places where volcanic eruptions are more, the fertility of soil is very very high. Okay, तो जो भी कुछ material आता है, when it comes out, the magma, the lava, those materials are very much fertile, which is very very good for the agricultural purpose. Now the next answer in detail is, in the first and fifth stage of demographic transition, population growth is almost nil. What is the difference between the two stages then? So you required to write the answer for this. Now in the stage 1, both birth rate and death rates are high. The difference between the two is less, and therefore the population is stable. So this is about the first stage. Now if we compare the first stage with the fifth stage, in the case of fifth stage, the birth rate and death rate are very very low. Okay, birth rate is almost equal to the death rate, means there is no drastic change in the fifth stage. Okay, so in the case of stage 1, the birth rates are high due to limited education opportunities, and people feel having many children is good. Okay, but in the case of stage 5, it is not like that. Okay, they don't increase their families, and the population is in balance. Okay, so there is more need of medical facilities as well as health environment should be good, because the people over there has more lifespan. Okay, so this is all about the question number 2 in answer the following in details. Now the next question is, discuss the problems faced by the countries in stage 4 and stage 5. Now what can be the problems faced? The problems faced can be the death rate is very low and going down, as the medical facilities have improved and pandemic like plague and cholera are being eradicated. Birth rate is the same as death rate, so the population growth is minimal. Problems faces by the stage 5 countries are as under. So the first problem is what? Due to large number of old people, the death rate is high, and due to the smaller number of young people, the birth rate is low. Due to large number of old people, the dependent population is also more, because they don't earn anything, so they are the burden on the working population. So the young age population, the working population is less. So the size of dependent population is larger than the size of active population. So this is all about question number 3. Next is question 5. Draw a neat labeled diagram for demographic transition theory. So this is the diagram which you can draw from your textbook also. So you have the 5 stages in the demographic transition theory, that is early expanding, high stationary, late expanding, low stationary, and declining. The last question of this exercise is question number 6. You need to draw an outline on the world map. So if the map is given to you, you have the places like highly populated region in Australia, sparsely populated region in India, countries in stage 2. Okay, so the countries in stage 2 are Bangladesh and Niger. You can take other two countries also. Countries in stage 5 are Sweden and Finland. So you can take more other two countries also, because even there are other countries which come in stage 5, that is Germany. Okay, so this is how you can plot the figures. So you can see the different denotions are given in this video. Okay, so this is all about the exercise of lesson number 1, that is population part 1. So any query you can comment me in the comment section. Thank you for watching. Do subscribe the channel.